Hello, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ellen Boyd. I am the author of the Toby Garrison Chronicles, a contemporary young adult drama suspense series, and this is my channel. However, although I am an author, I am also a reader. I love books. So I upload a booktube video every Wednesday and an authortube video every Friday. And remember, if you enjoy my content, please consider liking and subscribing below. It's a completely free way for you to help support a small YouTuber and independent author like myself. With that out of the way, on to the video. This is my September wrap-up video. I don't know if you guys watched the last couple of videos or not, but I actually managed to get past my reading slump. Yay! I was so happy. So I read, how many books did I read? Hold on, I can't remember now. I read 7 books in the month of September. A couple of them I started near the end of August, but I read 7 books in the month of September, and I'm still reading another 2, and I'm like so happy. So happy. Okay, so on to the books. First one, there's a few that I've already talked about, but I was talking about them before finishing them. So How to Eat Fried Worms. I finished that. It was kind of gross, but it was a cute little book, and I'm glad my sister got me to read it. This is about Billy, who essentially doesn't know when to keep his mouth shut. So one of his friends says to him, "Oh, my mom's mad at me because I didn't eat such and such on my plate." And he said, "Well, why didn't you eat it? I eat anything." And that kind of starts the whole thing. So they're like, "Would you eat this? Would you eat that? Would you eat dirt?" He says, "Yes." "Would you eat," I can't remember all the stuff, but they name off all these things, and he says yes to every single one. And then they say, "Would you eat worms?" And he says, "Well, yeah, it's just a worm." Famous last words. So they launch into this bet where if he eats a worm every day for 15 days or 14 days, then one of his friends will give him $50. And he apparently wants to buy this scooter or this bike thing that he saw for sale, that one of their other friends is selling. And then if he loses, he has to give $50, I think. He has to give $50 to this other friend, or to the kid on the other side of the bet. And he can eat the worm in any way he wants, whether it's boiled or fried or flambéed, any seasoning, any sauces, anything like that. But he has to eat the entire worm, and one every day for 14 or 15 days. So it's a little gross, but it's a cute story. How to Eat Fried Worms was one of the books that I ended up reading near the end of August. I started it August 25th and finished it on September 1st. So was it a book for September? Not sure. But it wasn't in my previous wrap-up, so I hadn't finished it by the time I did my August wrap-up, so I'm going to include it. Which brings me to the next book that I read, which is The Horse and His Boy. I went back and forth with this between the audiobook and the paperback, and I don't think I read this before, of this installment of the Narnia Chronicles. I read a bunch of the others, but I don't think I read this one. If I did, I don't remember it. This is about Shasta, who was taken in when he was just an infant. He was found on a boat with a dead man, and this fisherman found him and took him in and raised him as his own. Sounds like a nice guy, not so nice of a guy. He's actually a bit of a jerk, and he treats Shasta more like a slave than anything else. So Shasta comes across a horse who happens to be a horse from Narnia. So of course this horse can talk. And straight from the horse's mouth, Anyway, so the horse's name is Bree, but it's short for something, and I'm trying to remember what the actual name would be. What the actual name is. Okay, I can't find. The horse's name is Bree. That's what he calls him through most of it. I think the horse says his actual name but once, just once, and Shasta says, "Oh, I can't say that. Can I just call you Bree?" And the horse is like, "Well, it's not my name, but okay, fine, call me Bree." So Shasta and Bree run away because Bree's owner is wanting to buy Shasta from Shasta's adoptive father / master. And they end up coming across this young girl, Erebus, and her horse, Hwin, who are also running away and running to Narnia. Also, the 4 kids from Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Lucy, Edmund, Susan, and Peter. Well, Lucy, Edmund, and Susan make a brief appearance in this book, but Peter is only mentioned. He's not actually physically present for the story. The stars of the book are Shasta, Bree, Erebus, and Hwin, and yeah, it's a cute story. I enjoyed it, and one thing I will say, for the audiobook, I don't know who narrated it. There were lots of parts that were very slow, just the way he was narrating, so I had to up the speed to 1.5 for most of the book, but that's all a reading preference. So anyway, just wanted to give you that heads up in case you decide to get the audiobook. You might want to speed up the narrator a little bit. Okay, so The Hobbit. I finally finished this. Finally! I can't even remember when I started it the second time around, but or third time if you count when I was a kid. But I finished it on September 4th. Woohoo! Very excited. You guys know The Hobbit, right? I mean, I don't want to bore you with my summary of a book that's so popular, but this is about Bilbo Baggins, who is a hobbit who says he is like a normal hobbit and does not look for adventure, but really he does look for adventure, and he finds adventure through Gandalf. And it's a cute little story. It's the precursor to Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I haven't watched the movies yet, but I do want to. I just wanted to finish the book before I started the movies. Okay, so next book is Imzadi, another book that I started the last week of August, and I finished it on September 9th. And this is such a good book. This brought back so many memories for me. You've heard of scent memory before? Well, I have reading memory. I was reading this, and although I wasn't remembering everything about the story, I was remembering the reading of the story. I was remembering sitting in my father's kitchen reading this while eating banana bread. I know, random, but you know, it's how I roll. This and Star Wars Heir to the Empire and Star Wars Dark Force Rising, every time I read any of them, I remember sitting in my father's kitchen eating banana bread. I had a bit of an addiction to banana bread. In that stage of my life, but that's okay. Still love banana bread, just not as much of an addiction. So Imzadi starts off in the future. Riker is now an admiral, and he's tortured by the fact that Deanna Troi, his soulmate, if you will, his Imzadi, his beloved, died practically in his arms years, decades before. It's never really been discovered why she died, how she died. Even with the futuristic tools they have for autopsies, Dr. Crusher was not able to figure out what it was that happened, how she died. So that's always been something that haunted Will Riker and Dr. Crusher. Will Riker actually comes across Wesley Crusher, and Wesley asks what happened all those years ago when Deanna died. So we get a bit of the story from Will's perspective as to what happened as far as he knows. But I can't really, it's really difficult to not give spoilers. if you're a fan of this show, you should read this book. And if you're not a fan of this show, why? Why are you not a fan of this show? You should watch it. It is streaming on Netflix. Watch it. It's a really good show. Really good book. And I love the Will Riker, Deanna Troi dynamic. I don't usually go for romances, as you guys know. But in this, I do. I like this romance because I don't even know why. I think it's just well written. They don't have Deanna like throwing herself at Will Riker. She's strong, but yet has vulnerable moments, as does he, and it's very well written. I enjoy it. But yeah, highly recommend this book. And if you haven't watched the series, I highly recommend that as well. Okay, so next physical book is The Writer's Guide to Psychology. This I talked about in previous video. If you want to check that out, you can click right there. I'm 10 pages away from the end of the setup, so to speak. It lays the groundwork for psychology. If you're writing a character who is a psychologist, then this book would be awesome for you. And it just so happens I am going to have a psychologist in my next book. So I'm 10 pages away from finishing the groundwork chapters, but I have skipped ahead to some of the disorders so that I can be more ready for the main characters of the story and because I mentioned in another video as well that book 3 of my series is going to focus a lot on mental health awareness, and I want to make sure I get that right for the main characters. So I skipped ahead just a little bit. I'm still going to go back and read those 10 pages, but I've got little storylines going through my head and everything, and I want to make sure that they line up with the disorders, that they make sense with the disorders. So, now on to audiobooks. There are some books that I only read through audio. A couple of them were surprises, and I mentioned this in another video as well. I'm giving all my stuff away before I do the wrap-up video. Anyway, the Zero Chronicles. They're free right now on Audible. Audible did this thing where they increased Audible did this thing where they increased everybody's membership to an Audible Plus membership. As far as I know, it was everybody. Don't come after me if it's not. But as far as I know, it was everybody's membership. The base membership has gone up to Audible Plus. And that means that there's all these free audiobooks and podcasts and whatever else available to the members. I found the I found the Zero Chronicles, and it's by Dan Wells, and I'd never read any of his books before, never heard of Zero Chronicles, but holy moly do I love these books. They're middle grade sci-fi. In the first book, this little kid named Zero, it's his nickname, he and his family are on this ship. They're moving from Earth, like a spaceship. They're moving from Earth to another planet to colonize it, but this planet takes, I think, 105 years to reach. So obviously they're going to be in stasis pods. About 30 days into the trip, Zero's stasis pod malfunctions, and he wakes up. He's like, wow, we're there already? And everybody else is asleep. The only one he has any kind of communication with is the computer on the ship, who is the pilot while everyone else is asleep. He's a kid, and he just enjoys being on the ship alone without any adults to tell him what to do and what not to do. Somebody in a review described it as Home Alone in space, and that was spot on. It is Home Alone in space. Anyway, some smugglers, I guess. Anyway, this group of people hijack the ship. Zero doesn't know why, but based on things that he's heard and based on the fact that they hijacked the ship, he figures that it's not for good reasons. So he takes it upon himself to rescue the entire ship, and it's such a fun story. I can't tell you about the second book without giving you spoilers for the first book, but I highly recommend this book, this whole series. I haven't read the third book yet, but I'm confident it's going to be just as awesome as the first two. They're middle grade, they're sci-fi, and they're awesome. If you're in a reading slump especially, these will help you get out, but even if you're not, they're just a fun read. And they're quick, they're like 3-4 hours on Audible, something like that. And I plan on buying the physical books as well, just because I love them so much. I want them on my bookshelf. The next two are also audiobooks. Writing Your Story's Theme by K.M. Weiland. I read that within, it was a little over a week. I started it on September 18th, finished it on the 26th. If you're a writer, I highly recommend anything by K.M. Weiland, but this book in particular, I've always found theme a little bit, you kind of get the gist of it, but it's almost like you feel like when you nail down the theme for your story that it's a fluke or by accident. You don't know how to actually reach out and grab the theme. And this book helps give you ways on how to do that. And it shone so many light bulbs in my mind about the mysteries of theme, or resolving some of the mysteries of theme, that I love this. I'm going to listen to it again very soon. It also prompted me to reread Creating Character Arcs, also by K.M. Weiland. I had listened to this last year and I'm listening to it again this year. I'm working on book 3 right now, and I will be writing the outline in October for Preptober, and then writing the book, hopefully the full book, in November for NaNoWriMo. So I'm getting my creative juices flowing, getting ideas, and those two books really helped me. So if you're a writer as well, then I highly recommend those books, or if you want to be a writer. Okay, so that's what I have for you this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe below. Don't forget to click the bell so that you get notified when I upload new videos. I upload a BookTube video every Wednesday and an AuthorTube video every Friday. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day and stay happy, healthy, and safe. Bye-bye. Hello, and welcome to... what's my line again? Hello. I think I did it in I don't know how long. About 30 minutes? Was it about 30 minutes? I think it was about 30 minutes. Wah, wah, wah.